You ever been on a date? It doesn't matter how long you've been together, and you're like, oh, that was a waste of time. Or the opposite, you go on this date and you're like, man, that was such a connective, great time, and you felt closer to the person you're with. We want to have more of that experience and not the first one. And there's 5 mistakes I want to talk about that we can fall into. These are the most common I see that can make date night go sideways, and then the solutions to each one, because what good would it do just to talk about what would go wrong and not what could be right? All right. Some of them will be obvious, some maybe not as much. First one, cell phones. Look, if you go around a restaurant, you see everyone on their phones. And that is the opposite of what you want to do to be on a date. Like, you're with someone, but you're not with them. And so depending on how much and how addicted, I would say, to your cell phones you are, you might want to do some things with it. So one of the things that I do is when I'm going out with my wife, I turn my phone off. Now, we have 3 kids, and so they need to get a hold of us. She keeps her phone on, but luckily I have more of the issue with my phone than she does. So turn your phone off. If you have kids like me and someone needs to get a hold of you, that's a different story. Maybe separate the phone from yourself. Put it on the other side of the table so you can hear it go off, but you're not tempted just to automatically go to it so that you can be with the person. Phone. Second one, being reactive and not present. This kind of goes with the phone, but it all starts here. Look, we have so much going on. Our mistakes from yesterday, the problems of today, the worries for tomorrow. And we need to recognize that those things are taking up real estate. And no matter how much we want to be with the person that is sitting across from us at the date, we might be somewhere else. And so notice that you're that way. Name what it is you're anxious about, what you're worried about, so that you can diffuse that. And look, if you want to, that's something you can share with the person that you're with. Hey, I'm having a hard time focusing. I'm worried about these things, and just share your heart with them. It's also a connective time just to share when our concerns, I know that can be scary for some of us, but sometimes that helps the ball rolling in a connective way. Third one, not knowing what to talk about. Again, I've been with my wife. We were 17 when we got together. We're 41 now. It's been a minute. And honestly, even on date nights, if we can fall into a trap because we're tired and we're busy people, that I'm talking about my business, she's a teacher, she's talking about her job, or we're talking about the kids. It kind of revolves around that. And if we're not careful, we can have a dead end date because we're not having healthy, good conversation. And so both of us are introverted and both of us are slower processors. If that's you, my recommendation would be plan ahead what questions you want to ask. What are some deep things that you want to know about the person? What are some shallow things you want to know about them? No matter how long you've been together, you're going to continue to learn who each other are and share. Do not ask questions that you're just asking them so you can talk about something. Ask the questions in a manner that you're really wanting to know the answers, and then listen to understand. There's 3 different listening styles. There's listening to understand, listening to interrupt, and listening to hijack. And whatever one you tend to do, just acknowledge that, and then go back to, no, I'm understanding. Understanding does not mean agreeing. And really, if you want a tip on how to understand even to a greater degree, you can say, hey, what I hear you saying, and repeat back what you hear them saying, because conversations that are dead at the table are another way that just is like, what the heck? And it doesn't matter how long we've been with something, that can happen. And then the next one. Look, again, I've been married a long time, and knowing what to do can be one of the biggest challenges to date night. And so sometimes it comes up and we're just like, we used to do this thing where it's like blank. Where do you want to go? What do you want to do? And we're trying to think after a long week. One thing that's helped us is planning ahead what we're going to do, thinking about it. What are people that she likes to be with? What are places that she likes to do, where she likes to be? And what are some activities that she likes? And if some of those connect to things that I like, that'll help. So sometimes our date night will be with other people. Sometimes it will be doing an activity that just she likes. Other times it's things we like. But thinking about it in advance will help. If this is a common thing, one thing that I've learned from a friend is a date night jar. And it's in advance, write down things you like to do in advance on a piece of paper and put them in a jar. And then that night, one of the fun things you can do as a couple is you can just pull out of the jar and just do whatever that activity is. And it takes the thinking out of it. We're going to get Netflix and we're going to get takeout. That can easily be. We've had date nights. Again, we have 3 kids. We've had it in our bedroom, especially during COVID when things were shut down, but it was separate from them and we made it connective. So think about ways in which you can integrate the things you both like to do, and it will really make it a big deal. Next thing, calendaring. And this is more for you that have been in relationships a long time. We can get in these ruts where we're like, well, we'll just go on a date periodically. For us, we have a date night once a week. It's not a surprise to us that it's coming up. It is on the calendar. If you do not put it on the calendar, the busier you get, the harder it will be. Hey, I hope these helped you to avoid these date night mistakes. Again, I want to repeat them back. Being reactive and not present, being on our phones, conversation starter failure, not knowing what to do, and not calendaring it are the traps we can fall in. If you like these tips, this channel is all about how to connect with ourselves, others, and God, and how to quiet this beast in here. If you're into that, I'd love for you to subscribe. Have a great day. I hope your next date is even better than the last one.